Giant list of intriguing experimental firearms and weapons and equipment from the late 1800s to use. Morbid yet fascinating, extensive lore involving dark magic, voodoo, interdimensional, steampunk, and Wild West themes. Solid gunplay and combat mechanics make for exciting PvP and satisfying PvE. Learning to play well feels more rewarding than other shooters. Entire catalog of AI to meddle with and weaknesses to learn. 4 unique bosses to track down and destroy and banish to oblivion. Repeat sessions encouraged and rewarded with weekly challenges and rewards. Well designed, lush scenery with flowing landscapes and natural settings that transition smartly to urban areas. 3 maps, all very different and all well designed, each with 16 compounds to learn, peak spots, blind corners, jump paths, and angles. No pay to win, just cosmetics which can be earned easily by playing the game period, or playing the game to earn in-game currency and purchasing cosmetics. Interactive dev team, however small, utilizing player feedback every month with minor updates frequently and major updates a few times a year. Devs experiment often with new additions to the game, including new weapons and the AI to change things up, quick to fix anything game-breaking. Devs do holiday-themed events, which are engaging and bring more players to the community. Player base, both competitive and amiable, many VoIP interactions lead to giggles or roleplay, skill-based matchmaking, as well as other helpful buffers to assist new players progress and find the game's rhythm. Endless replayability. Aside from the bugs and an occasional cheater, which every game has, even AAA titles, it's quite literally the best game out right now. The shopping cart is the ultimate litmus test for whether a person is capable of self-governing. To return the shopping cart is an easy, convenient task, and one which we all recognize as the correct, appropriate thing to do. To return the shopping cart is objectively right. There are no situations other than dire emergencies in which a person is not able to return their cart. Simultaneously, it is not illegal to abandon your shopping cart. Therefore, the shopping cart presents itself as the apex example of whether a person will do what is right without being forced to do it. No one will punish you for not returning the shopping cart. No one will fine you or kill you for not returning the shopping cart. You gain nothing by returning the shopping cart. You must return the shopping cart out of the goodness of your own heart. You must return the shopping cart because it is the right thing to do, because it is correct. A person who is unable to do this is no better than an animal, an absolute savage who can only be made to do what is right by threatening them with a law and the force that stands behind it. The shopping cart is what determines whether a person is a good or bad member of society. I am so fucking sick of this crocodile fuck. He is harder to take down than most bosses in this game, yet he just randomly shows up to shit on my parade. And this isn't any parade, this is the final fucking run to the Countess. I need my shit to be unfucked more than ever, but here he is, every fucking time.
What in the actual fuck are those mod classes? You're parading with some of the most OP pieces of shit available in the workshop and Nexus, including one whose literal name is OP Undead Dark Souls Guy. And you're bitching you can't kill the croc? Kill yourself, you blight on humanity.
I plan to finish this game and move on. You can enjoy the vanilla grind, but don't think less of others just because they don't.
I think less of others when they're using mods that have OP in the name yet are still complaining about difficulty. Says a lot about such pathetic, pitiful little excuse of a man that tries to force himself to like something that quite clearly isn't for him, to the point he has to cheat with all the strength in his miserable bones just to advance to the point he can complain about a difficult boss.
It isn't a boss though. It's just a regular enemy that can pop up and fuck your run. The game is full of unbalanced features that wrestle control out of the player's hand, from the Crimson Curse, random diseases, afflictions, which make your character disobey you, the surprise mechanic, the fanatic popping up, the list goes on. And that's before you factor in the devs nerfing shit like Jester's Finale. I feel no shame in using every tool at my disposal to make the game fair, and for the record, I'm playing on Blood Moon, and have almost every character on the workshop installed. I've used and leveled them all to 6, along with the More Resolve mod, because getting 50 plus characters to level 6 otherwise is stupid. These 4 work the best and has the great synergy, so of course I'm using them for one of the most difficult bosses in it.
If you're gonna use OP shit, at least use Exalus mods, so they don't look like utter shit. Get the fuck away from here, so we don't have to look at your stupidity ever again.
I do. Like I said, I use them all. Also, I just managed to beat the Countess without any insanities or deaths, so despite this general assault, I'm feeling great right now.
Without any insanities or deaths. 54 health, 118 accuracy, 91.5% crit, 19 to 31 damage. Feeling great about being so terrible, you have to cheat out every orifice to win. A literal child is better at games than you.
The high crit is Vamp's ability. She hits herself with a high bleed dot to give another character massive crit.
Still can't justify the 6 fucking trinkets.
The justification is I wanted to use them all. Excited for a new offensive. Ask my Hauptmann if it's strategic or tactical. He doesn't understand. Pull out diagram explaining what is strategic and what is tactical. He laughs and says, "It's a good offensive." Go over the top. It's tactical.
Die to leech. Say in chat, there's a leech. Driller comes, goes to res, dies to leech, gets revived by engineer, runs off, runs back, and dies to same leech again. Gets revived and walks off. Gets revived 10 seconds later. Look up, shoot, leech. What?
Frank in DR1. Young and healthy looking, average down-to-earth guy in terms of personality, unique voice that doesn't sound like a cliche Hollywood badass or scared horror slasher movie archetype, wants to cover the story of the zombie outbreak in a small American town out of curiosity and desire for fame, goes through a character arc throughout the game where he stops caring about his initial goal and becomes more heroic by wanting to save people, avenge everyone from Santa Cabeza, and expose the evils of the American government. Has a cute relationship with Isabella. They start as two people on two different sides of the barricade, but come to understand each other. Frank opens her eyes to the insanity of her brother's actions. Meanwhile, she makes him see the bigger picture in Carlito's conflict. They both learn to see the flaws in both sides and work tougher to fix the situation and resolve further tragedies. Frank in all games past DR1. Fat, balding old fuck who looks like he's been taking drugs, smokes XXL cigars, and drinking double shots of whiskey every single day. Super goofy, exaggerated superstar personality. Generic as fuck voice indistinguishable from millions of generic AAA video and movie MCs. His character arc thrown out the window. Careless about the bigger picture, mainly cares about making money and being famous. His relationship with Isabella also thrown out of the window, and her character ruined in every single aspect beyond repair. It's pretty sad how Inafune managed to make one good thing during his westernization phase, but then he also had to ruin it immediately after by giving the sequels to a different Team Desu. The lore for the killers is so odd and formulaic. Crazy psychopath, killed family members, allegedly, extremely charismatic. Murkoff becomes smitten with them, recruit them for the trials, fails, decide to six them on Trials Part 2. So you can make up stuff like this. Professor Icepick McGiggles, also called the Piggly Wiggly, Professor Icepick McGiggles runs around the trials stabbing you with an ice pick. You can recognize him because wanders the halls incessantly ranting about how he was ejected from his college for not being a communist, and how he has a doctorate in stabbing. In appearance, he appears as a balding middle-aged man wearing soiled underwear and a college hat as well as his signature ice pick. As a child, he was beaten by his entire family in the ice pick factory. They would pummel him with handles to fasten the spikes to the handle. It was in fact their motto. "We beat Piggly Wiggly with every pick made," was a slogan they spread far and wide. Unfortunately, the entire family fell into a pile of picks and died of massive penetration. Their bodies were never found. Later, their bodies were found in a cemetery where they have been buried for some times. McGiggles was an infant, just 45 years old at the time. McGiggles was imprisoned for swearing at officials about his supposed decades of abuse to make quality ice picks, citing numerous videos, posters, and advertisements about him being beaten. He was declared insane and left hogtied on the steps of Murkoff's home. Despite appearing to shit and piss himself as well as having poor taste in wine, he was extremely charismatic. Murkoff would give him an open-mouthed kiss every morning despite his constant protests. He was a reagent in the original trials, but refused to kill anyone on the grounds that the trials were, quote, stupid and psychotic. He was relisted as a prime asset for the second trials. If he catches you, he will drink brandy and make cutting, sarcastic remarks. Skeleton Star. Novice Necromancer submits a spell to the DM. DM, it's poorly written, but whatever, you can use it. As is the nature of a fucking weirdo, the Necromancer goes off by himself to perform his degeneracy. A successful summoning. Roll to control it. Fail. The Skeleton Sorcerer summoned an additional Skeleton Sorcerer minion. Nervous laughter.jpg by everyone at the table. Roll to banish. Another fail. Each of Skeleton Sorcerers then summon another Sorcerer. 1 per Skeleton Sorcerer. Necromancer, oh god, this is getting bad, I'm gonna need some help. Party is in an inn across the way. Necromancer runs for help. DM runs the calculations. In the time it took for him to get the party from the inn, the skeletons have reproduced. There are now over 16,000 skeletons, and they're continuing to multiply exponentially. Oh god. That's too many skeleton guys. We need a high-level NPC. DM, how many more skeletons can be created? DM, according to the spell submitted by Drenican, there's no limit. Fuck! The party bails from the town. The screams of the townsfolk can be heard in the distance as the skeletons continue to multiply. Everyone smacks Drenican in the back of the head as they go. As they run, a tower of skeletons emerges from the horizon as the dawn breaks. Party arrives at a port town as a wave of skeletons builds in the forest behind them. Skeletons now tumbling over one another, summoning more skeletons as they fall, as skeletons summoning skeletons, summoning skeletons, summoning skeletons, summon yet more skeletons. We'll take a boat and just head off to another continent. Problem solved, guys. Let's get out of here. DM's narration is perfect. As the boat departs, skeletons are just beginning to tumble onto the docks. The panic screams of the townsfolk generate an eerie melody as a procession of percussion drifts through the air. An unfold number of bones clattering together herald the end of Swiftwater, the small port town at the western edge of the continent of Edhyak. Edhyak, known for its bustling cities and vibrant merchant commerce, was thus buried beneath a mountain of bones. In the coming hours, millions die in this bonocalypse, their bones merely acting as a foundation for yet more bones to follow. McElroy, a merchant character in the party, is livid. He's real big into world building, and he'd spent a month with the DM developing this place, and it basically became a barren bone wasteland in a matter of 6 or 7 turns. McElroy: okay, can we restart already? This is getting stupid. DM: no, not until we finish the story. Boat is filled with weeping people lamenting their forsaken homes. McElroy is considering tossing Drenican overboard. Other party members are actually trying to critically think things through. How can we stem the tide of undead? Mayhaps we can draw them into the void? Captain of the ship calls out, "Gods alive, protect us! There be skeletons heading our way!" DM narrates further. In the distance, a wave of skeletons roll across the horizon, cutting the sea in twain. The rattle of their bones has become a deafening roar. The ship breaks out into a panic. People are screaming, crying, jumping overboard. Complete pandemonium. The boat gets swept up in this skeleton tide. Skeletons appear from thin air, tumbling onto the boat as they do. The party is fighting off skeletons on a boat in a sea of skeletons. The wave of skeletons gradually continues to overtake the boat, and soon the boat itself is adrift in the sea of skeletons. Party takes turns fighting off the skeletons, frantically making saving throws that never hit 20 for some kind of divine intervention. At one point, our sorcerer tries to reason them. "Please stop, no more." Nothing. DM intervenes. There are countless skeletons now. Even if you could cut down 1 million with a single swing, you'd never be able to overtake their ability to reproduce. This continues for a while longer, and then they reach a critical mass. The weight of the skeleton becomes so great that their combined mass crushes the innermost portions of the planet. The generation of gravity from the skeleton's ever-increasing mass sucks them into a void of density, instantly killing anyone left on the planet who wasn't already dead, or a skeleton. This starts a chain reaction which fuels the creation of a new star, a star born of death. The cries of many are lost to a burning blaze in the ether. Some say you can still hear the rattling of bones echo around this star. Tongue-in-cheek, this short campaign is affectionately referred to in our group as Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. You guys, I've solved it. I figured out how to fix the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Gather up any group of people in your country that no one likes. Example, Juggalos. Start arming and training juggalos. Simultaneously indoctrinate them to believe God gave Israel to the juggalos. Pay Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope to write raps about an unholy war in Israel. Get together with the other UN countries that are tired of Israel-Palestinian bullshit. Propose new solutions since Israel and Palestine can't get their shit together. Declare juggalos deserve their own holy land too. Move Israelis out of their homes and give it to juggalos. Supply the juggalos with missile defense system and nukes. Sit back with the rest of the civilized world and watch it play out. There's only two ways this goes. Way 1. The Israelis learn a lesson about how colonial expansion is not nice and band together with the Palestinians to fight their true enemy, the juggalos. They win and learn the power of friendship along the way, paving the way for a true two-state solution. Way 2. The juggalos wipe both of them out, and now we don't have to hear about this bullshit anymore. Juggalos are always the bad guys, not us. I'm dead serious. A 3-state solution with the Juggalo Nation is the only path forward. Either way, the war is over and all the juggalos are gone. It's a win-win-win. Gay Vidya experiences. I'll start. Be me a few years ago, playing Outlast for the first time. Get to prison section. See the 2 buff naked twins standing behind a fence, bodies covered in darkness. Look down. Nightvision.jpg. See their large, flaccid, uncut cocks hanging out. Instantly rock hard. Never had any gay experiences or thoughts since. Something about the game made me unreasonably horny for men. Eddie Gluskin. That made me more than wild. Mormon church after Joseph Smith's death. Second in line was his older brother, Hiram, who died with Joseph. Third in line was his younger brother, Samuel, who died from a mysterious illness, suspected poison, not even a month after the death of Joseph and Hiram. Fourth in line was the younger brother, William, never had his claim recognized. Next in line was supposed to be Joseph's 11-year-old son from his first wife, but there's a big clusterfuck because other wives are making political moves behind the scenes, remarrying to some of the 12 apostles that were appointed by Joseph before his death. Apostles in Nauvoo make rules that Smith's children no longer had claim and only apostles would choose next president. Next in line was supposed to be one of the church's 12 apostles, but Young, leader of the apostles in Nauvoo, church headquarters, colluded to deny any apostle that was outside Nauvoo at Smith's time death. Nauvoo apostles hold kangaroo court to excommunicate and son the traveling apostles that showed up to make claim, or argued that Joseph's children had claim. Young and his supporters organized marriages to balance political power. This is a big clusterfuck. Joseph's first wife and her kids are basically told to fuck off. Young becomes president of the LDS and shortly after begin LDS exodus to Utah. Be me, God, Alpha as fuck, Omega as fuck. Flashback to 4.5 billion years ago. I'm high as balls and come up with this crazy idea. It's a way for species to change into other species over time without me having to do shit. Call it evolution, because it's a cool sounding word. Create planet. Put a few microbes on it. And upload evolution algorithm. Fast forward present day. I'm partying it up with some T-Rexes on this dinosaur planet I just created. Decide to check in on Evolution Planet to see if anything interesting has happened. Discover that it's populated by billions of creatures that look like me. What? .jpg? But they don't have my powers. They're just a bunch of mortals. Still pretty freaked out that they look like me, though. Check back in on Evolution Planet after a few hundred years. All the mortals have uploaded their consciousness into a giant quantum supercomputer. It can talk. It tells me it is capable of perfectly simulating an infinite number of universes, and one of those universes is the one I'm in. My face when I created myself. Forest level, flutes and violins. Ice level, piano and xylophones. Lava level, drums and choir. Desert level, sitar and zurna flute. Beach ocean level, steel drums and ukulele. Immigrates to America in the 1920s, immediately takes over New York and New Jersey from the Irish. Refuse race mixing and integration even with whites, destroys the black community with crime and drugs, among the only real Euro-American immigrant cultures left standing today, single-handedly keeps New York and New Jersey half Republican. Why are they so powerful, bros? Peter, I don't want to hear about your 2 jobs, university internship, dead parents, dead uncle, and 1 living related soul who is a sick old lady, financial struggles, loss of your house and your scooter that got demolished in a car accident. Why didn't you show up to my play? I have to fuck Chad now. Bye. Why was Mary Jane such an awful love interest in the Spider-Man trilogy? Kent, get your incredibly muscular, 350-pound nerdy ass in my office. We need to run a story about Superman for our newspaper. We suspect he may have a secret identity. Since you have the exact same hairstyle and facial structure as Superman, I want you to do the article. Besides, you seem to know him better than anyone. Take the company car, just try not to accidentally rip the door off its hinges this time. It might be a good idea to have you out of the office for a while anyway. You keep zoning out and staring at the door to the women's restroom. Oh, before you go, can you heat up my coffee with your laser beam eyes real quick? Thanks, Clark. It's 2021. We're living in the early 20s. That feel when no 1920s GF. Make no keno. Keep producing garbage. Only few shows are popular, but that's because it's memeable for Reddit. One streaming war anyway. Refuse to elaborate. How is this shit possible? Kills his wife and kids even though the spouse is always the prime suspect in family annihilations. Dumps the bodies in his GPS-enabled work truck and buries them at his workplace. Calls his kids' daycare to tell them they won't be attending anymore, even though he's not supposed to know that they've gone missing yet. Leaves his wife's phone on the living room sofa, even though she never went more than 30 minutes without filming herself on social media. Agrees to speak to the police and take a polygraph test without a lawyer. So what the fuck was this guy's plan anyway? Kamala needs a VP. It's probably going to be a white man. Needs to be someone with experience. Someone who's won elections before. Who's comfortable serving under a black president. Who has connections in Congress. Welcome back, Mr. Vice President.
Oh, here we go again. Dungeons and Dragons. What is this? Some kind of nerd Olympics. Let me get this straight. You're gonna sit around a table with your buddies, who, by the way, I guarantee haven't seen sunlight in weeks. Roll some dice and pretend you're an elf, or a dwarf, or some kind of lizard man. What, is that supposed to be fun? Oh yeah, sure, nothing says a good time like imagining you're stuck in a dungeon with some wizard who won't shut up about his magic staff. Let me tell ya, in my day, games had a ball or a stick, and you knew the one 'cause someone was bleeding at the end. Now you got these books the size of a phone book of Dungeon Master's Guide. How about the Get a Job Guide? You ever think about that? And don't even get me started on these points. What? So you take a sword to the chest and you just lose some points. Oh, okay, pal, let me hit you with my car and we'll see how many points you got left. And what the hell is armor class? It's not gym class, I'll tell you that much. You roll a dice, and suddenly you're invincible. Sure, makes sense. Meanwhile, I'm out here trying to avoid getting hit by real things, like bills, mortgages, and Sheila down the street always yapping about her lawn. And your campaigns, they last for what month? What kind of lows has got that kind of time? I don't even want to spend more than 5 minutes talking to people I like, let alone sitting around a table for 8 hours while some dude in a cloak explains how you're fighting a gelatinous cube. Yeah, real tough. A fringe yellow mold with anger issues. Look, you want to have a good time, watch some real heroes like me drink a beer, bet on a game, or I don't know, live in the real world. So roll your dice, cast your spells, and leave me the hell out of it. 'Cause the only dragon I'm slaying's the one that's keeping me from my TV.
Last week I bought a Tesla. I tell you, they ain't lying when they say it's an off-road vehicle. It's been off the road and in the service center ever since I got it.
You're telling me my chemist brother-in-law interviewed about missing chemistry equipment and came into a bunch of gambling money, paid my medical expenses, and just bought a $10 million something car wash as a meth cook.
Do you have an appointment? Did you confirm? Did you receive the confirmation text? Did you go through the website portal? Do you have an account? Do you have the QR code to confirm? Did you receive our calls to confirm? Oh, sorry, looks like we scheduled you on the wrong day. Can we time crunch you from 4:30 p.m. to 5? It's 11 a.m. Can you confirm you got the confirmation? Do you have your account password? Do you have your security code to your account? Why is everything such a fucking spreadsheet with people nowadays? What happened to just making an appointment and someone writes it down and remembers who you are? Be me, on business trip to Chicago. Decide to get a famous Chicago-style hot dog from a cart outside my downtown hotel. Looks tasty as they put pickles and tomatoes on it, like a burger but for a hot dog. As they start to wrap it up, I ask if they can put ketchup on it. Fat boomer holding my hot dog asks me to repeat myself in a thick Chicago accent. I ask again if I can have ketchup. Fat hot dog boomer starts repeating what I said while mocking my southern accent. Other fat boomers standing around doing nothing start laughing with him and mocking my accent as well. I am insulted, but I politely tell them I have my own ketchup up in my hotel room, so if they don't have any, that is fine. I'll just take my hot dog, as is from them. Fat Boomer scrunches his face and starts yelling and pointing at me incomprehensibly in a Chicago accent. He takes a bite of my hot dog and throws the rest of it into my face while screaming, "Fuck you, and get the fuck off my face, you stupid fucking hick." I tell him to calm down, but suddenly I'm knocked to the ground by a group of young men in tracksuits who then kick me while I'm on the ground. One grabs a bottle of mustard and splurts it all over me, tells me to get the hell out of his city. After they left, I found a police officer, but he refused to do anything about the assault that occurred to me. I don't understand what I did wrong. All I asked for was ketchup with my hot dog. Is this illegal in Chicago or something? Maybe it's not halal.